Hello everyone, I'm Sam. Exactly 1 year ago, around this time, I started my very first podcasts, covering diverse topics. Over time, I decided to create a dedicated YouTube channel for it, to share more with a wider audience. Today, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for your support, for listening, and for seeing this podcast as a place for heart-to-heart conversations. I truly hope we can continue this journey of growth together for a long time to come. Over the past year, I've received so much attention from you all. Honestly, when I first started, I never imagined it would be so well received. My podcast has consistently been among the top favorites on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, with over 4 million listens on my channel. Many episodes have even surpassed 100,000 listens. Let me quickly mention some of the most listened to podcasts. First is How Much is Effort Worth, currently the most popular episode. Second is Forgive Yourself. Next is Finding Your Passion and the Meaning of Life. And then we have Growing Up Through Rejected Loves and Living Away from Home. There are so many podcasts that you've loved, and that gives me the motivation to keep exploring and sharing more topics with you in the future. And of course, if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, or if you've known me for a long time, you'll know that self-love is always a topic I want to share and reiterate over and over again. Even if you feel like you've heard it a million times and it's tiring, I believe I need to be here to remind and encourage you to live your own life and love yourselves. Because we only get one life, don't we? So, hurting yourself, feeling insecure, or underestimating yourself leads to so much suffering. Instead, let's choose self-love. Let's choose to live the life we desire and strive for ourselves. But have you ever sat down and truly thought about how you're loving yourself? Are you truly loving yourself? People talk about self-love as buying beautiful clothes, putting on sparkling makeup, taking care of yourself, studying hard, and earning money. And of course, there's nothing wrong with focusing on yourself and adopting habits and actions to do that. But I want to talk about unconditional love for yourself, loving yourself even when you're not perfect, when you have bad habits or quirks. Loving yourself even if you're not smart, beautiful, or have a flawless personality. Have you ever hated yourself? Or even right now, as you're trying to love yourself every day, do you ever have a moment where you feel like you're not enough? Let's think about unconditional self-love. There was a moment when I was sad, and that sadness stemmed from others' expectations of me being too high, while my own capabilities were limited. I was doing my best with what I had at that moment, but sometimes I felt that my efforts still weren't enough. So, I spent a few hours just being sad, I sat in a cafe, looking out at the street and thinking. I didn't want to run away from the sadness. I wanted to face it, to sit with it and understand why I was sad. Could I change it, or did I need to accept it? How should I deal with that sadness? My own sadness? I'm usually someone who puts a lot of pressure on myself. Sometimes others don't see it, but it's always there in my thoughts. I always want to do things better, and I'm incredibly strict with my hopes and desires. So, a situation arose, and I felt that my efforts were still insufficient. Some people wanted more from me, they craved more things, they wanted me to give them more. And first and foremost, I felt sad because I somehow disappointed them. That feeling of not being good enough, not being capable enough, it's truly heartbreaking, isn't it? Have you ever experienced such disappointment? But I think I only dwelled on it for about an hour, maybe less. I came to an important realization. My capabilities are limited, and I cannot live up to everyone's expectations. I should only live by my own dreams, aspirations, and desires. And I know that being strict with myself is necessary, but that doesn't mean I should fail to acknowledge my own efforts over the past years. 5 years since I graduated, working, then starting my own business, now having a YouTube channel with over 500,000 followers and a podcast with over 4 million listens. If you look at the efforts of a student like me from back then until now, it's been a very long journey. I had to do everything myself, especially in the early days. From then until now, 5 years of very clear development. I see it, and others can see it too. I cannot constantly chase after everyone's expectations and desires, forgetting what I'm doing, what I want, and what my capabilities are. Because sometimes we want to be superheroes, we want to save the world, but we are just ordinary people. We will do our best within our own limits. I know I'm not perfect, and what I'm doing is trying my absolute best. Although there are many things I keep to myself, many things I take slowly, day by day, with every product or every share, I always try to make it as complete and polished as possible at that moment. So after an hour of feeling a bit sad, I also had a realization. Sometimes we lose our self-respect. It's normal, you know? A little sadness is okay. It helps me view things more objectively. And of course, progress and development are inevitable. Every day, I try my best, and with every piece of content I share, I strive for it to be as refined as possible. However, it's not something that will appeal to absolutely everyone, even if it's extremely popular. But I believe it will truly resonate with those who need it. And if someone needs it and stays with it for a long time, then my sharing content is like finding friends people on the same frequency who can walk together for a long time. Nevertheless, I still experience those emotions. Many of you might think I never get sad or disappointed, but that's not true. I always have those feelings, just less often. But in those moments, thanks to truly loving myself, appreciating what I have, and even loving my imperfections, I can overcome those feelings easily. It's like makeup. Makeup helps us look beautiful by covering blemishes, making our lipstick brighter, our smiles more radiant, our lashes curlier, and our cheeks rosy. Makeup makes us look prettier and feel more confident. But that doesn't mean that, when we remove all that, we should always feel inadequate or hate ourselves. Have you ever taken off your makeup, looked in the mirror, and felt terrible thinking you looked ugly? I used to think that too. But over time, I've come to love my high forehead, which I only truly see when I remove my makeup. That prominent forehead used to be one of the things I was most self-conscious about, but I still cherish it in a way. My eyes are a bit small, my nose isn't very high, my cheeks aren't overly rosy or beautiful, but I love my smile. Now, when I remove all my makeup, I love myself more. I rarely wear makeup unless it's for work, like filming or doing interviews. Otherwise, I'm quite comfortable with my bare face, maybe just a bit of lip balm. Sometimes people wonder, aren't you a public figure? Why don't you maintain your image? But honestly, I think it depends on the situation. There are times when I feel very comfortable with a bare face and loose clothes because, for me, comfort is more important. And if others want to see me at my best, then of course, they also have to accept me at my worst. So sometimes, I want to show the rawest, most authentic parts of myself, and if others still like that, then they like asterisk me as a person, not just the beauty enhanced by makeup. Of course, beautiful things attract many people, but I don't need many. I only need a few who truly love me for who I am. When I talk about unconditional love, wanting someone to love me for no reason, not because I'm pretty, clever, smart, or rich, but simply because I am me, then first and foremost, we must love ourselves unconditionally in that same way. Stand in front of the mirror after a shower, look at your whole body from head to toe. You'll see imperfections, like belly fat, right? And stretch marks. I'll tell you about the stretch marks on my thighs from when I was 19 sometime later. But yes, there are stretch marks on my thighs, and many other things I used to be incredibly self-conscious about. But now, I feel they have their own kind of beauty, and I love looking at myself in the mirror after a shower. It might sound a bit funny, but it's a feeling where I think, this is when we are most authentic, with nothing to hide, and we love our own bodies. That feeling is wonderful. I feel most like myself when I'm bare and standing in front of the mirror like that. Of course, that bareness doesn't need to be for everyone to see, but you yourself feel it. The bareness of the body is like the bareness of the mind. They are similar. One has a clear physical form, but the other doesn't. It's invisible. But to truly love yourself, you also need to be bare in your soul. That means not deceiving yourself, but being honest with it. Be honest with yourself about everything that's happening, about your emotions. Sometimes someone criticizes you, and you try to pretend you don't care, you're not bothered. But deep down, sometimes those words hurt. Be honest with yourself about that. It's okay. Just be sad. As I've been sharing with you, from the moment we don't know something, don't try to pretend you do. When you make a mistake, admit it instead of making a lot of excuses to avoid being judged by others. Instead, we absolutely need to be honest with ourselves. And when you are honest with yourself, gradually, the need to pretend will diminish significantly. That means it's better to stay silent, not say anything, but not try to make excuses or deceive your own feelings by affirming or denying something. Just be sad when you're sad, happy when you're happy. If you feel lonely, just be honest with yourself. You don't need to shout it to the whole world by writing status updates or posting stories. you first need to be honest with yourself. Even if you lied to someone or hurt someone, you need to be honest with yourself and reflect a bit. Take some time to acknowledge all parts of yourself. Because sometimes, the way we perceive ourselves isn't accurate or true. Sometimes we only love ourselves when we're at our most beautiful, wearing sparkling clothes with perfect makeup and saying the sweetest words. But I think those moments are often not the most genuine. For example, when we go to a fancy party, wearing expensive designer dresses, looking dazzling, moving gracefully, sipping wine elegantly, speaking sweet words. But we don't necessarily live like that every day. We also go to the toilet, pass gas, and sometimes we make mistakes, we stumble. It's not always perfect everywhere. And when your face is bare, maybe a bit tired, sometimes you feel you have to force yourself to be perfectly flawless to be liked, like having to be good to be loved and admired by friends and teachers, or being extremely beautiful to be cherished by a lover. That's not always truly you. You are a person with many different facets. You can't always be in the most perfect state. So, truly loving yourself means loving everything about yourself, both your perfect and imperfect sides, both your good and bad sides. And others need to do the same. If you want to find someone genuine, you need to find someone who loves both your good and bad points. Someone who sees you eating heartily and perhaps a bit messily, but still finds you endearing and lovely. If you're still shy about being yourself around people, then I think you might be with the wrong person. Maybe for the first 1 or 2 times, you're a bit hesitant, but once you're in love and comfortable with each other, you can be completely yourself and relaxed, even if you feel you're not sparkling or perfect in that moment. But for me, that's what loving yourself truly means. It's about being raw, not deceiving yourself. It's not just loving and being proud of the good things about yourself, but also the imperfect things. I feel they are normal, or they are weaknesses, or they create my uniqueness. If you're still trying to love yourself every day by striving to become like someone else, then that's not really self-love, is it? We are not like anyone else, and what's the point of trying to be? There's no point. I have always been myself. I don't try to be like anyone else. Even if I'm ordinary, not outstanding, or not special, I am still me, because just being me is already special. No one else in this world is exactly like you, and I love myself unconditionally. I'm still trying to develop myself more every day, but I've gone through many ups and downs in life. And even in the worst moments, I haven't abandoned myself. I still have faith. I believe that today, and in the future, I will never forget those moments. I'm grateful that I continue to strive and refine myself. I understand that truly unconditional self-love is what helps us grow, not running away from our imperfections and not being overly proud of what we have. Now I have a little test for you. After you take a shower, stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself from head to toe. Yes, from head to toe, don't miss anything. Look at everything, and how do you feel about yourself? I hope that you can love yourself unconditionally. Being born with what you have is already something to be grateful for. And from there, we can begin to grow and become better. Don't hate yourself or the things you haven't achieved. Don't constantly live up to others' expectations and forget that your capabilities are limited. We must acknowledge our own efforts. Keep striving on your path of growth, and I'll still be here. Thank you for listening to today's podcast with Sam. The podcast will air regularly on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. on the YouTube channel Sanhan. Kat, see you in the next podcasts. Love you all.